So I'd like you all to think about how many times you've seen one of your customers walk into your store, grab a basket, turn right, and then proceed to go on a NASCAR-style lap around the perimeter of your store. Now, occasionally they may deviate, go down an aisle, grab an item or two, but the fact is 95% of consumer demand is being met with just 40% of the SKUs in your store. And when you combine that with the growth of online retail, what we've ended up with is a center store that's not nearly as profitable as it once was. The good news is, as we're putting our heads together to come up with a solution for this problem, what we found was something that not only addresses center store profitability, but it also leverages brick and mortar to combat online retail threats. Now we're able to do this because the consumer of tomorrow has a completely different set of expectations when it comes to how they interact with physical retail. They want something tangible, something they can contribute to. They want something experiential. So our concept is to implement a dynamic pop-up in your center store. My name is Michael Wright with Niagara Bottling. I'd like to introduce my team. We have Ellen Chung with Del Monte, Nate Pepper, Fry's, Forrest Carlisle, Smart and Final, Denise Tejeda, Food for Less, and Sam Freskin with UNFI. Now before we dive into the pop-up shop concept itself and kind of how we're going to implement that, we'd like to take a step back and address the problem.
There is absolutely no doubt that online grocery is here to stay, and it's transforming the way that we do business today. Although it's an industry still relatively in its infancy, it's already amassed to more than $25.7 billion per year, but that's still only about 2% of total grocery sales in the US. However, as we look ahead to the next 5 years, online grocery is expected to grow exponentially faster than traditional brick and mortar. In fact, in the next 5 years, it's expected to grow at a compound annual growth rate of 33.6%, which will amass to 7% of total grocery sales in the US by 2023. This means that by 2023, $85 billion worth of groceries are going to be purchased outside of the four walls of our stores. When we take a look at the market today for online grocery, it's actually still very highly fragmented. Only the top 4 players account for less than 35% of total industry revenue, while other smaller and regional players account for more than 65%. Industry experts agree that going forward, the major national competitors such as Amazon, Walmart, Kroger, and others are going to continue to invest extremely heavily to capture more market share. So we'll go on to discuss how traditional brick and mortar stores can leverage their own physical assets and invest in their brick and mortar locations to fight off the online threat. When we take a look at traditional brick and mortar today, food and beverage is only growing at a rate of about 1.8%. In other words, it's barely keeping pace with inflation. We take that fact and balance it against the fact that food and beverage is the single fastest growing segment of products available in e-commerce. And what we've realized is that we have a real estate problem in many of our stores. And with that productive square footage declining primarily in center store, we'll now go on to discuss how consumer preferences are also changing, and we'll introduce our solution to the problem.
Generational preferences are changing. We all know that. The problem is that we're not doing enough to meet our customers' needs. By 2030, 70% of the buying population will be millennials and Generation Z, so we have to start listening to them. Currently, 78% of the new generation want that brick and mortar experience, but at the same time, 65% believe that retailers cannot provide the experience that they're looking for. And there's a few reasons behind that. First, we're not supporting our local communities enough. And second, we're not providing that memorable interaction that they crave and that they desire. So our customers are asking for something more. In order to enhance that brick and mortar experience, we need to provide these 3 pillars in order to improve the shopping experience. First, we need to provide that face-to-face interaction. We need to provide that human aspect to improve the face-to-face interaction that our new generation is craving and lacking. Second, we need to make it accessible by making it easier for our customers to find the products that they're looking for while also providing the experience. Lastly, we need to make it personalized by catering to our customers' individual preferences. So our customers are asking for something more, and we're not delivering. This is why we all need Pop and Shop. So I want you all to take a moment and imagine you're doing this racetrack lap around the perimeter of your store. And instead of looking at those same old dusty products at the center, You see this buzzworthy space that really attracts the attention of your customers. So we're recreating the fun and excitement that Disneyland provides and bringing it into our store. This is what we think Pop & Shop can do in our stores today. Now we'll be showing you a short video about experiential retail.
If we're the same people who live offline, who live online, and our expectations and our behaviors are changing because of these innovations, what is the 2.0 version of that in a physical world? My name is Rachel Sheckman, and I'm the founder of Story. Story is a space that has the point of view of a magazine. We reinvent it entirely every 3 to 8 weeks like a gallery, and we sell things like a store. It's like you buy a magazine off a newsstand, and what's on the newsstand in April is different than what's on the newsstand in May. I was really interested and excited about looking at a physical space as a storytelling medium and bringing those different worlds together. Everyone's like, brick and mortar retail is dead, but yet we're not changing how we define retail. The last 20 years have been incessant digital and technological innovation. If we're not satiated as much as we used to for longer periods of time, how can we make things faster to keep up with what consumers' appetites are for new content? When I look at the impact of the convenience of Amazon and getting essentials at your doorstep before you know you need them, but right just in time, I'm not interested in competing with that. What I'm more interested in is what can you do offline that you can't do online? And then B, what can you introduce to that experience to further enhance it? We're quickly becoming trained as a society to be multitaskers, and we want a higher return on investment for our time. So if you want my time in a physical space, let alone you want to keep me there, how are you going to satiate my appetite while I'm in that space? Because we're always changing and we're launching new brands or testing new technologies, it's this open source playground for innovation in retail and media. So why can't retail be a media channel? My whole philosophy is, why can't you start with a blank piece of paper and cross-functionally integrate the different needs of a brand? And so we have our consumer community who's really loved learning and coming to the store and meeting new people, and the same with the small businesses during all of our events. And this surprise and delight factor of creating more dynamic retail experiences, whether you're a drugstore or a mass retailer or a different kind of specialty store on 10th Avenue and 19th Street, in my opinion, is vital.
So as the video showed, pop-up stores already exist. It's currently an $80 billion a year industry and has experienced 23% year-over-year average growth for the last 7 years. Pop-up stores use loyalty and community to drive consumer interaction, while also providing an omni-channel brick-and-mortar option to online retailers. Pop-up stores generate buzz and create a sense of urgency to get it while it lasts. And this fear of missing out further drives consumers to the actual location of the pop-up store. Pop-up stores are profitable and are already generating good revenues for online retailers. But Pop & Shop takes this concept to the next level of grocery retail. Pop & Shop will generate additional revenues while also increasing foot traffic for your store. It can be localized to a specific region or personalized to a specific demographic. Pop & Shop is scalable and can fit at any store size with any amount of space you're able to allocate. The best thing about Pop & Shop is that it's dynamic. It can change multiple times in a year to coincide with holidays, seasonality, or new product launches. Pop & Shop is an affordable way to get into the experiential retail and make your store a destination. Now, some of you might be wondering, how much is this going to cost? Well, the initial build-out ranges from $50 to $150 per square foot. And this includes the initial labor to actually create the space, electricity, a point of sale, and fixtures. The average revenue generated is approximately $700 per square foot, and this is the difference between a typical pop-up store revenue and a typical center store revenue. The payback period for this initial investment ranges between 6 to 12 weeks. And for each further iteration of a Pop & Shop, it'll take about 2 weeks to make your money back. So Pop-and-Shop's an affordable way to create buzz and excitement in your grocery store. Now, we're going to discuss implementation of our concept.
So how can you implement Pop-and-Shop in your stores? We're going to tell you how in 4 simple steps. First, consolidate the center of your store. Build awareness. Plan out the in-store experience. Finally, learn and repeat. Now we're going to take a closer look at the first step of the process. So anybody that's ever had the opportunity to order the center of the store knows that over time, you can start to see trends or patterns in regard to what products need to be ordered consistently. But what about the products that don't have to be ordered as consistently? Have we overshot the expectations of our customers by carrying so many SKUs in an attempt to meet the needs of every single individual? I would argue that we have. Based on my experience, when I ordered the center of the store, I would go up and down every single aisle, look at every item, and if a case would fit on the shelf, I would order it. But eventually what I realized was that not only was I filling the shelf with products that didn't sell, I was using unnecessary labor to accomplish this, and I was also tying up capital in inventory that would eventually be marked down and sold below cost, or simply go out of code. So traditionally, we've driven foot traffic into our stores through ads and promotions, and Pop-and-Shop is a new way to drive foot traffic into your stores and reach a new customer. And behind me, as you can see, these are some categories that, based on our research, are starting to show a decline within the center of the store. Our recommendation to you would be to leverage your existing online platforms and deliver SKUs from these categories to your customers. Now, we wanted to show you a little bit about what Pop-and-Shop might look like inside of a store floor plan. And so here we have a 55,000 square foot store with a 400 square foot Pop-and-Shop location. But we also wanted to give you an idea what a larger floor plan might look like. So here's a 124,000 square foot store with a 1,600 square foot Pop-and-Shop location in the middle. Now that we've covered the first step, I'd like to take you through the next 3. So building awareness is really about utilizing your existing advertising channels, whether it's print, digital, social media, or even push notifications, to let your customers know what's going on in your stores today and what they can expect in the future. Planning out the in-store experience, as you saw from the previous slides, really, this is our space. We own it. We need to use it to connect with the customers in a way that they would actually appreciate. Also, utilize your existing associates to work in these Pop-and-Shop locations to develop their selling and engagement skills. As retailers, we all want our associates to be selling associates, and what better way than to use this dynamic pop-up to train them and develop their skills. Lastly, learn and repeat. So prior to attending Pop-and-Shop, customers will receive either a digital or physical QR code that'll be linked directly to their loyalty card. Now this QR code will then be scanned upon entry into Pop-and-Shop, and the purpose of that is so that we can monitor foot traffic for that particular concept. Stores can then use that information to cater future concepts towards what actually resonates well with your customers and in your specific neighborhoods. Now we're going to take a look at a few concepts that we think would be a great fit for your stores.
So we did some research, and we worked with a creative agency to come up with this modular system. And because it's modular, it's scalable, and it's easily implementable within all of your stores. But it's also specifically designed to drive that customer engagement, to be profitable, and also to help keep us on trend, so that we stay relevant with our customers today, tomorrow, and 10 years from now. In our research, we also identified a few different types of Pop-and-Shops that we believe are going to be most impactful within your stores. The first one being more product-focused. So here we have Namaste, the do-it-yourself CBD smoothie studio. Now we know that not all of your stores are going to be able to implement an idea like this, but that, ladies and gentlemen, is the magic behind Pop-and-Shop. You know what your customers want, and you know what your stores can sell, and you can combine these ingredients to provide a unique experience for every single one of your stores. But that's not all. Product-centric Pop-and-Shops are also fantastic because it drives that customer engagement. So imagine I come into your store, I whip out my handy-dandy mobile app to check in, boop, and then I pour myself a refreshing CBD-infused blueberry smoothie before I go buy my week's worth of groceries. I pay for it on the spot, so it's additional revenue stream. Plus, best yet, it allows us to partner with our local vendors and work with our national CPG manufacturers to ensure that we're offering our customers the brands, the products, the ingredients, whatever is popular at that time, at any time. So this doesn't have to be a CBD smoothie bar. This could be the next keto-friendly dessert line of keto-friendly cookies and cakes, which I would love. The next type of pop and shop that we wanted to show you here is more community focused. So this is our chance to give back how we can, where we can, and when we can. We already have the brick and mortar. Here we have Be Well Express clinics offering annual health screenings. But you know your customers best, so maybe they don't need annual health screenings, maybe they need vision care. So what if we were to partner with Ray-Ban or Warby Parker, who have been some great manufacturers out there that have been offering free vision screenings throughout the nation. By offering your customers what you need, where you can, and when they need it, we are not only becoming a valuable part of the community, we're also expanding upon that brand loyalty and trust that you've already created with your customers for years to come. And lastly, like Denise had mentioned earlier, we have to keep our customers coming back for more. So here we have Arena Esports and Lounge. This is what we think of as the epitome of engagement and of excitement. So imagine bringing in the excitement of Fortnite into your stores. People love to watch, participate, compete, and then watch people compete in these electronic sports. So think about bringing this into your store and transforming your stores into a destination and expanding your brand to mean more than just grocery retail, to mean something that's guaranteed excitement at any time of the week. So we hope that these ideas give you a pretty good idea of how versatile, how potentially profitable, and how engaging Pop and Shop can be within your stores.
So to tie it all together, as an industry, we've overshot the needs of our customers from a SKU perspective. When you combine that with the growth of online retail, what we've ended up with is an erosion in our center store. At the same time, the consumer of tomorrow has voted with their dollars to spend money on experiences and community-based initiatives rather than the product itself. Now that actually provides us with a really unique opportunity to repurpose this newfound real estate in the center of our stores to provide them with that experience they're looking for. Traditionally in our industry, we've relied on a two-tier approach to drive traffic. It's been price and convenience, but our customers are demanding a third experiential tier. Now we believe that by providing that third tier, it's not only going to embed us in our communities, but it's going to build profitable moats around each and every one of our stores. Our goal is to make the center store a destination and not just a pit stop. So with that, our ask is that you reevaluate your center store strategy, you adapt to the changing needs of our customers, and you implement a pilot Pop and Shop program in your stores. I'd like to thank you for your time and open for questions.
Great presentation. I just had a question about, is there an ideal size for this Pop and Shop? I was considering, for example, if it becomes extremely popular, you might, under ideal situations, get a huge response. And how would that be handled? And would the size and the flow of the design play into it?
Yeah, so the great thing about the Pop and Shop concept is that it's modular and scalable. So you can decide how many square feet you want. So you can trial maybe a smaller one, see how it works with your customers. And if it's really popular and people are loving it, you can expand as large as you want to, because your system is going to be specifically designed so you can build it block by block.
Thank you. Really interesting concept. One question I have is, there's obviously some fixed costs in terms of setting up a pop-up shop, but then you also have on the other side the idea of constantly rotating the experience to keep the customer engaged. How do you find the right balance between how much you're willing to put into it, but then also how long you have that experience out there before you feel like you need to freshen it up?
We have a couple of different models in place. One is a rent model, which you actually just be renting out the space to another company. The other one's a revenue sharing model, which you're partnering up with a CPG for new product launch or things like that. Either one can be set at a certain amount of time, and if it proves to be fruitful, it could continue to go on, or you can start making plans to interchange to the next pop-up shop. So,
yeah, just to piggyback on that, so that your initial fixed costs are going to be that $50 to $150 a square foot. So something like the esports would be on the higher end, rather than just a typical CPG new product testing. Once you have that fixed asset in place, then your ROI becomes much quicker. We figured out an average of about 2 weeks. So it really just depends on your strategy as far as how quickly you want to change between concept to concept. I mean, we think seasonality could be a huge play, but I think learn and repeat, right? So does that answer your question as far as fixed costs?
it's very interchangeable.
So great presentation. Just a question, as you've researched this, have you found any great examples of large retailers that have brought pop and shop style modules in their stores, and what kind of success have you seen?
Yeah, we've seen a lot of retail locations like Nike, Nordstrom. A lot of big names have started to do more of these types of pop-in shops or pop-up stores. But we've also seen online stores like Warby Parker coming into the the retail channel by creating these kind of pop-up store concepts. We see this very popular actually in England, where it's an even bigger industry. They actually have an entire industry that's based off of this pop-and-shop concept. And it's actually become really, really successful over there, and more brands are starting to get into it. But I would say in terms of actual experiential retail within grocery, we do see a lot of that in terms of like HEB, Hy-Vee is starting to do a lot of bars and also restaurants within their stores to make it more of a destination. And this is kind of piggybacking along with that, but making it more dynamic so that you can change it ongoing, make it affordable too.
Thank you.
Thank you.